All right, today we're going to talk about Instagram Reels. And so I know that it is a hot topic and that a lot of people have questions about them. So my goal for us today is to understand more about why we want to use Reels, how to actually create a Reel, and then think about how you can add those Reels into your content calendar. All right, so first up, why should you use Reels? So there's a few reasons. Definitely a big one is video is continuing to grow with popularity and interest. And so the more that you can create content that is in a video format, the more likely you are to get some views and get people engaged with you and your content. The other thing is that it plays a lot into Instagram's algorithm. So Instagram likes to promote and prioritize content that's using their newest features and the features that they really are wanting to promote. So, whenever they come out with a new story sticker or a new feed thing, like with the carousel post coming out a few years back, or anything like that, when you use that new feature, they're going to push your content to the top because they want people to use that. They want people to see that. They want people to engage with that, especially to understand how much of an impact that new feature makes and essentially how much they should invest in keeping it around. So with Reels, especially as a direct competitor to TikTok, they want to recapture the TikTok audience and bring them back to Instagram. And so by using Reels, you are continuing to help them do that. And so they're going to like your content and push it to the top of the feed. Another thing is that it's just a new and exciting way to engage with people in your audience. It's definitely, just an interesting piece of content on your feed. If people haven't seen you doing videos before, depending upon what you're sharing, it could be very different from what you've shared in the past while still being on brand. And so it's just a new opportunity to engage with your audience. The third thing is just exploring videos. So like I mentioned at the beginning, it's definitely growing in popularity, and I doubt that it will slow down at any rate. And so if you're not really sure how to incorporate video into your business and into your marketing plans, this is a great place to kind of start and just test the waters, see if it's something that people respond to, see if it's something that you even enjoy or that you understand well enough to kind of replicate across different platforms. And another thing too is that it just creates quality short form content. So especially with Reels or these different videos, you can save them and share them on other platforms. So if they perform well on Instagram, you may want to take them to Facebook, or maybe they'll be good for LinkedIn, just depending upon the type of content that you're creating. So there's a lot of different things you can do with Reels. And if you are looking for new ways to re-engage your Instagram audience, this is a really perfect opportunity to do just that. So that's kind of why I recommend doing some Reels. All right, so how to create a Reel. I found these really helpful photos from later.com's blog. So I thought that it would be better just walk you through this than trying to screen share for my phone. So the first thing you're going to do, as you see in that first picture all the way to the left, is you're going to tap that plus button, and it'll open up the opportunity or like the screen to post a new piece of content. And so you can pick from a variety of things. There at the bottom, you can see it'll be a post, story, Reels, live. All you have to do is kind of slide your thumb across to get to Reels, and this new screen that's on the far right-hand side will pop up. Another way you can do this is if you go to your profile, click that same plus button in the top corner, there'll be a short list that pops up, and Reels will be an option, and you can select that one. So once you're in there, you have a lot of different things that you can do. So you can choose an audio that you want to use, and you can pick any sounds that are available in your library there. So depending upon the type of account that you have, it'll impact what kind of music you have access to. So if you have a creator account, you'll have access to all the trending music. If you have a business account, though, you'll have kind of more of this generic, I like to think of like ambiance kind of music. There's still a lot of fun things you can do, a lot of fun music you can pick. But if you're really wanting to use some trending music, I would definitely consider switching over to the creator version of the Instagram accounts. There's really not anything that you lose, but it is, just helpful to know whether or not you have that up. So that's just one thing that I found out that I thought would be interesting and helpful. As you can see, you can select which section of the song that you want to use. So if there's a particular part of the song that you want to cut and paste, you can select that. And then once you pick all of your audio, you can then add in the amount of time that you want. So that little button on the top left-hand corner there, it'll either say 15 or 30 seconds. Those are the only two times that you currently can use. And so you can just pick one of those. Make sure that you select that before you start doing all of the work of uploading your videos, things like that, because that is a pain when you find out like, oh, I don't have enough time or I have too much time. It's not impossible to go back and fix, but definitely make sure you have the right setup there from the get-go. As you'll see on the right-hand side, the next thing that you can select, you don't have to, but you can do is change the speed that the video plays at. So if you want to do like a time lapse, if you want to speed up or slow down your video, this is what you'll select. And with Reels, you can record different clips, right? So maybe you're having your first clip is going to be normal speed, and then all of a sudden that second clip is going to slow down a lot, kind of create this slow-mo effect. This is what you would want to use to change that up. So those are the two timing devices that are really, really helpful. And definitely make sure you have it set on the right setup. So obviously it'll start naturally default to the normal, typical kind of what 1x setting, and it'll typically start on 15 seconds. So if you want to change either of those, make sure you give them a look. All right, after you decide that, you can create a timer. So if you, for example, let's say you want to be in the video full body, and so you want to have time essentially to press record and then give you, only so much time before it stops and you can record again. So this is the timer setting. It's pretty self-explanatory, very simple. It's really nice that you can set it up and pick how long your clip is going to be. So you don't have to be there like constantly going back and forth, hitting start and stop, or having someone help you with that. So that's a really great feature that I like. All right, so let me go back one more second. So as you can see in here too, there is this effects button right above that blue arrow. They didn't have a good picture from that, so I'll just kind of explain it real quickly. But let's say you wanted to do a special filter or feature or something over your face or in the background, that's what you would click. And there's a lot of different options and they're constantly changing. So if you wanted to do something like that, that can be super helpful. All right, so once you record your whole video, you'll come to these screens. And so this is where you select your cover. So whatever it is that you want people to see before they click on the video, you'll want to select that. And so at the bottom, you can see in the middle there, you can pick the different frames of each of the different pictures in the video, or you can add something from your camera roll. So just make sure that you pick something and think about what it'll look like on your feed, and consider how that set looks for you. You can add your caption, your hashtags here, all those different pieces, and be very thoughtful and intentional, just like you would for any other post. And then once you do that, you click done and you share it. So that is how you create a reel. I know that was a kind of a quick run through. It's definitely easier when you have it open on your phone. So what I would recommend is just start experimenting with it. Sometimes it's just something like when you're on a walk, just open up the phone and like start seeing what it's like when you record flowers on your, sidewalk, or see if there's something on your desk that you can record, or try recording yourself and just play around with it. A lot of this is going to be trial and error and you just getting used to the platform and really understanding, okay, how does this work for me? What makes sense here? What can I do here? All those different pieces. And you can still tag people. You can use hashtags. I typically would probably limit it to about 5, just because otherwise it can look really cluttered because of the way it's set up on Reels. But yeah, so once you share it, once you create it all, once you get all your music and your timing and everything set up, you can share it and post it both to your stories, on your feed, wherever you want, which is really, really awesome. All right, now that we've talked about how you actually create them, let's talk a little bit about planning for your reels, right? So this is something that I really struggle with in the sense of I don't do this enough. And so I need to take my own advice. But the best thing you can do for yourself, especially if you are not accustomed to creating content on a regular basis like this, or if videos are new for you, is plan it out. So while you're planning out your content for the rest of the month, sit down and think, okay, what reels do I want to create this month? What am I going to talk about? What topic do I want to cover? What type of content do I want to create? So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but some really good places to start is to think through, what's an educational piece or post that I can create? If you have a product, what can you share about your product? Regardless of whether or not you have a product or a service, are there things that you do kind of behind the scenes that you could feature that can help people to understand what it is that you do and why the work and products that you create are valuable? And the fourth thing is just a personality post. So this could be jumping on a trend, things like that, but something that shows people who you are and what you're about. So let's take a closer look at these. So an educational reel, think about what's something that you can teach someone in 15 to 30 seconds, right? So definitely, even for me, I'm thinking I could probably take any of the content from this presentation and take a piece of it and talk about it for 15 or 30 seconds and provide some kind of value and educational, piece of information to someone who wants to know more about Instagram Reels. To do this, think about that question, pick something, and then outline it. Create your content plan and schedule it into your calendar to ensure that you actually create it. So let's say I want to do a reel about how to create an Instagram reel, or how to market yourself on LinkedIn. So I can think, okay, I know I want to do that. I know that I want to put the camera on me. I don't want it to be me filming something else and writing, which I could do and is like a perfectly great way to use that. But I want to put it on me, which means I want to make sure that my hair is washed that day, that my makeup is done right, that I have flattering colors on, like I'm not wearing, a baggy shirt or something that maybe would not look as good on camera. Maybe I know I want to just do from kind of the waist up, or maybe I want to talk and have people see my full body in the frame. Wanting to make sure that I plan those things ahead is helpful for me, not just so that I know to create it and will create it, but I know exactly what I need to do that day so that I can feel confident getting in front of my camera and actually talking about it, right? Because I know for me, at least, if I'm not feeling, like I've put myself together well, I'm not necessarily going to perform or speak as well. I'll be more self-conscious being on camera than if I actually take the time to like properly put myself together so that I feel comfortable being on that camera. So think about those kinds of things. Think about what kind of, content you want to outline. So obviously for these sessions, I come prepared, I think ahead, I create these slides, and you don't, need to create slides or notes, but maybe it's helpful for you to take a couple minutes and write down the things that you want to talk about. Okay, if my topic is LinkedIn marketing and I only have 30 seconds to talk about it, what's the one most important thing I want to tell someone in those 30 seconds? And can I write it down on a piece of paper and just kind of keep that with me as I'm creating this video, maybe having to record it a few times, all those different things. So those are some tricks that can really help you make sure that you're actually creating content, and not just content just to create content, but really good quality content that's going to connect with your audience. It's actually going to educate them and help them and feel like, okay, this was, worth the 30 seconds I took to watch this reel. So just kind of thinking through those kinds of things. All right, the next one is a product share. So this is if you have a product of some kind, this is really great. And honestly, Reels is super awesome for products because you could film the same product in a million different ways and it still be really engaging. So think about a feature of your product. Is there, if you have a bag, is there a particular kind of pocket that's, very innovative in your design? Is there something about the quality leather or quality, zippers or something that you're using, right? Like, what is it that's kind of a fun feature that you could really point out and in 15 or 30 seconds do something fun with? Some tips for that is like, make sure you have a really clean workspace when you're recording. So, it's not the end of the world if it's messy. Maybe that's your vibe. Maybe that's part of your brand, but it's really nice to be able to have a clean workspace, not just so that it looks good, but so that people can actually see what you're talking about, right? So if you were to put a purse that you're selling, maybe it's a clutch, right? And you put it on your desk, but there's a bunch of scattered papers and maybe a wrapper from lunch or like whatever. Not only is that going to look messy, but it could actually detract from your purse, right? From what you're trying to talk about. So think about those things. Think about, how are you going to hold this item if you're going to, maybe you're not shooting it from a tabletop, but you're actually going to be holding it and talking about it. Maybe you're going to want to have certain lighting. That's really key, right? Especially with a product, a color could look one way in some darker shadows and look completely different in natural light. And the better the lighting you have, the better quality that product is going to look, right? So think about those types of things ahead of time. Again, sketch it out. Think, okay, what are the big pieces, the big talking points I want to make sure I cover? What's unique and interesting about this? Or what kind of fun thing do I want to do with it? Maybe you're packaging an order. Like those are super popular, right? Everyone loves to see what's going into that packaging. It's really satisfying when you see, all these different pieces of packaging and the product come together to create this really beautiful thing to ship out. Maybe there's actual assembly in your product that you're doing. And so you could put together the actual product in front of the camera and show people all the different things that go into it. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. And, it's just a matter of taking those small little things and creating a video out of them. All right, this next one is going to be behind the scenes, and you can do this for a product or service. So thinking about like what is going on in your workspace, what's something that you could show. Do you have something that you could show about how you're creating products or performing a specific service? So like I'm currently in the process of putting together the final draft of a marketing strategy for a client, which is super exciting. And I could show kind of some slides, maybe click through them fast enough that people can't read them, although maybe that wouldn't be a big deal. But something that'll just like, ooh, okay, this is what it looks like. Ooh, this is really pretty, or this looks really professional. Maybe there's a setup that you have on your desk that looks really nice and clean, and there's a reason that you do it. Maybe you like to use a specific type of planner and you want to show people what type of plan you have for the day. Whatever it is, whatever you think people would be interested in that could connect you to them, right? We want to be making these connections. What is it about the way that you work and the way that you do your work that can connect you to other people and create that, oh, you do that too kind of feeling? Because people want to connect with and buy and work with other humans, right? We want to work with people, not robots, not people just behind a screen. So allow people to kind of see what it is that you do behind the scenes. And for a lot of times, this can be really helpful if you are a service provider. So like when I kind of break down for a lot of my clients, like, okay, here's my actual process of how I create an Instagram post. They're like, wow, that's a lot of steps, or that's a lot of, thinking, and like, that's a lot of effort. And so they kind of enjoy that and think that's cool. And they also see the value in what I do, right? So if you're finding maybe that people struggle to understand what it is that you do or what it is that you do and why it's valuable, some behind the scenes kind of videos, when done well, can really help people to understand, oh, okay, this is what this person's about. This is what they do. I see this value now. So there's just some thoughts there. All right, this last one, personality post. So, this is definitely something depending upon how you feel personally about being on camera or participating in certain things, and definitely wanting to make sure it meshes with your brand. But just something maybe where you're sharing a funny story. Maybe you're talking about something that you enjoy doing. Maybe you, just walk people through your day or talk to them about something, give them a tip or a trick in some way that just kind of showcases your personality. So share something about you and what makes you and your business different from everyone else. And this is a really great opportunity, again, to humanize your brand. So if you're not in front of the camera a lot, or if you're not on your feed a lot, it can be really easy for people to forget that there's a person behind that, right? Or to misunderstand who the person is behind all those posts. And so these kinds of personality posts help people, again, to connect with you, right? Maybe there's Like I love coffee, right? That's my thing. That's like what people know me for is the ridiculous amount of coffee I drink every day and how much I love to talk about it. And so, personality posts for me could be, here's my morning coffee routine, or like, let's count how many cups of coffee Hannah has today. All of those different things, someone could see that and be like, hey, I like coffee too. Or that's kind of funny. She really does drink a lot of coffee, or she takes her coffee the same way I do. Just opportunities of connection. Maybe they'll say, try this way. This is really cool. Now we can start a conversation about coffee. And who knows, maybe they'll become a client, or maybe they know someone that can become a client of mine, or vice versa. So there's all these opportunities to connect with people in ways we never have before. If only we're, willing to kind of take that step and maybe put yourself out there in a way you haven't in the past. So definitely something to think about. And I would say try it, before you completely swear off on putting yourself out there. I'd say give it a try, see how it works. And if it's not the right fit for you, it's not the right fit. But who knows, maybe you could connect with someone that could really radically change your business. So just some opportunities there to kind of think about. All right, so we've got about 9 minutes till 5, so I wanted to leave us plenty of time for Q&As. So now is your time to shine. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and I will gladly answer them to the best of my ability. And if not, I know I have some from previous sessions. I know that was a lot of information as well. I feel like I always hit you guys with a fire hose of info and then need some processing time. But if we have no questions, that's quite all right as well. Awesome. Okay, well, if you do think of anything, as always, feel free to reach out. You can ask questions by just responding to the follow-up email this afternoon or this evening that I'll send, or you can always just email me. All right, so for next week, we're going to be talking about how to use Instagram stories for business. So we talked about Reels today. We'll be talking about stories next week. And then I will also be sending a follow-up email, like I mentioned this evening, and it'll have a survey just if you have things that you want to learn more about. And it'll also include the slides in the email. So if you weren't able to catch all of them, or if you joined us a little bit later in the session, then those will be available for you. And as always, you can see the full recordings of these sessions on my website. If you just go to resources and then digital marketing sessions, all of those recordings will be there, and they're on my YouTube channel. So yeah, all right, let's see. Quick question from Elizabeth. I'm just starting out again after a rebranding. What would you recommend for the best first few posts? So that's a great question, Elizabeth. I would say talk about your rebrand. Talk about why you created a new brand, why you picked the colors and the logo and the fonts that you did, or just talk about your business in general. Talk about why you do what you do and what it is that you do. That's a perfect opportunity to kind of really be very direct about talking about your business, because you got a new rebrand, and that's awesome. Congratulations. That's a big project. So I applaud you for that. But yeah, definitely talk about that, share about that. Those can be some great first posts. Awesome. Great question. All right, everybody. Well, I finished us up a little early today. So again, if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. And if you miss anything, it will definitely be on the website or in that follow-up email. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye.